Hello and welcome to my Reaver Titan journey part 3. Good news, I got my magnets, which is one of the reasons why I'm wearing these funky gloves. No, it's not because I've been cooking up some crystal meth or anything like that, and before anyone notices, yes, I do have a breach in my safety equipment. I bought them from First for Magnets. They've got a YouTube channel as well, pretty funny. I'd go check them out. They don't take things too seriously, but they do take the health and safety of magnets seriously. And I never thought that magnets were so dangerous. They never really, teachers at school, they never really tell you how dangerous magnets can be. But anyway, they come in this, and they come in some protective packaging and things like that. You've got this list of how dangerous they really are. Probably one of the most dangerous things that can happen is if you were to feed somebody a few magnets, because they can attract each other through the walls of intestines and things like that. That's going to cause you some pretty horrific damage. They have to be surgically removed. They won't just pass through your system. Nipping, heart pacemakers, surface plating, wearing and chipping, nickel allergies, and magnetically sensitive items. I totally get where they're coming from when they come in these little packages like this, and this is what you get really. You get these blocks of pewter or something. I mean, that's still pretty difficult just to pull away. Now these ones are 2.3 kilograms. I'm going to go through the sizes that I used. I used the exact same sizes as what Crew Orange Ulysses used. Put a comment on, I think, on my previous 2 journey videos, which is great. If you have any problems or anything, ask me or ask him about the sizes. I've check out his channel. Very helpful, knowledgeable chap. But anyway, we'll just talk about the magnets. So I've got these pretty strong ones. I mean, everyone knows I'm He-Man, but these are pretty strong. Just got to be so careful that you're not in. I mean, about 10 centimeters or so, these will just attract, and they're so strong. Always when you're using magnets, my best advice is just to kind of roll them off the other piece. Don't get them anywhere near your computer or anything like that. That's going to cause some serious harm. Rather than pulling them off vertically, I've heard it's like 5 times easier just to slide them off or roll them off. I think the order was about 20 something pounds, something like that. So yeah, they come in these great little boxes, which is incredible for storing. The ones that I ordered were 10 20mm diameter by 2mm thickness round ones, 20 10mm by 2mm, and 50 3mm by 1.5mm. I don't think you can get any less than 50. That's why these quantities, I went for the lowest that I possibly could really, but in reality they're about £5 each, 5 or 6 quid each for a pack. That's just to show you the sizes. Obviously they're the largest ones. These are the 10mm ones, which I strongly recommend, and these have 1 kilogram pull. So I think your weapons are about 400 grams or a couple of 100 grams, something like that. So these should be alright for the weapons, but we will see. And then these are the tiny ones, which I'm sure you could use on other models like Centurions or whatever. You might want to get them a little bit thinner. I mean, this is 1.5mm, so maybe 1mm thin. But yeah, I was very impressed with the order, with service. There probably are cheaper places out there, but I just thought I'd try these guys. So that's the magnets, and I'll show you. I've got to be really careful. That's the one thing about dealing with magnets, is you're very much aware of what you're handling, and what much more than say knives. I don't know why. It's just because so many electronics and things around these days, aren't there? So I'll just show you. The legs are almost done. They've just got a bit of tidying up to do, and the bolts and things. But here is a be careful, one I've kind of done, completed earlier. There's the large magnet in there, the 20mm. I'll put that on the hips. It's gluing nicely. I'm not going to try any magnets with it for a good 2 days, 48 hours. This is the other side part of the hip joint. I put the large magnet at the bottom, and then I put a smaller 10mm magnet on there, which is attracting that, and then it actually attracts the hips too. So Now, what you're probably asking me now is, well, what glue did you use? Did you use JB Weld, Gorilla Glue, Super Glue? What did you use? Well, I actually was just out in DIY store. I've got Gorilla Glue, but I couldn't find it, so I thought I'd just try this glue, which is just Evo Stick, rapid resin and hardener. So you just squirt equal amounts, both of these, into a little pot, and with a spatula you mix it for about 45 seconds, and then you spread the mixture into the hole or wherever you need it to go, and then after about 10 minutes it sets rock hard, and I'm going to leave it like that for 2 days. What I might do tomorrow is just go over it and fill in some of the gaps around with some green stuff. I'm probably going to use that green stuff, the liquid stuff, because then it's going to get in the gaps easier rather than the harder stuff, which I'll probably have to file down. So that's just to plug up the gaps, and it goes quite hard anyway. It just gives it a little bit more strength. Probably be easier to paint over. I don't think I'm going to put it over the magnet itself, just the edges and just the gaps in them. You're probably then asking, well, Super, what did you use to drill the holes? Well, if only I could get my hands on wood drill bits that were 0.5mm bigger, because as you can see there's quite a large gap around there, and again there's a large gap there. The only kind of wood drill bits I've managed to find was a 22mm and a 12mm. I mean, ideally you want, if you've got a 10mm magnet there, you ideally want a 10.5, maybe pushing it to 11, but I wouldn't get a 10mm drill bit for a 10mm magnet, because there's glue and there's, it's not going to be, it might be a squeeze to fit that magnet in. So I just played it safe and went for a bit higher, a bit too bigger, but that's just what I had at the time. And then likewise for the small magnets, what I've done is I put a small magnet in there, and that's going to connect to the head. What I might do is just shove a load of green stuff in there to block that, so there's a bit of compression and it can't get there, like my little mountains that I did and the trees. So yeah, that's kind of like the progress on the magnetization side of things. In the next part of the video you're going to see the model almost complete, actually. Not that many more stages left to go. I've done a lot of the, what I'd call the rough detailing and things. I mean, like this, that's almost ready to go. I've just got a bit of cleaning up and things like that. Again, this carapace, has it got any magnets in it? No. I've drilled holes in there just because I'm going to glue the ball sockets in, or I'm going to have a play around first, see if that works, but at least the glue will drizzle down and create some kind of like tunnel between them and be a bit more of a stronger hold. But yeah, as you can see, it's still quite rough. One thing I will say, which I've only just learned, is try and get all your magnetization and things done before you even spray or paint your model. And then just put a bit of frog tape over the magnet or something. My best tip, if ever I make another Titan again, I'm going to do all my drilling and things, it's just I couldn't wait, and then I had to wait for magnets and all the rest of it. So I put the 10mm, hopefully this 10mm will sit in there fine. It's not completely surrounded by resin, so I might have to just put some more in around it, which I probably will do. That might be fine as it is. Back to what I was saying is, make sure you drill all of your pieces and things before you do any spraying, because obviously I've done the drilling on these parts now and it's ruined like a lot of the black places. I might have to even go over this whole black bit with black paint. I mean, you can see, look, like pieces of the resin doesn't, well, it must react to paint or something like that in its raw form. There's a turbo, the laser blaster, and I'll just show you the Gatling blaster. So here's a Gatling blaster. I think probably on one of my previous videos I showed it where that wasn't painted, and these start of the barrel and the end of the barrels were just silver, and that just looked very plain and basic, just having kind of lead belcher. obviously with a wash and a highlight of Necron, and then the gold and the black, and then the gunmetal for the ammo box. It looked quite plain and basic, so adding this kind of third colour has really given it a bit more contrast. So yeah, I'm all for that. But for this piece, I know some of the parts highlight themselves, but I've drawn a line either side, and that's worked quite well so far. But yeah, I might have to go over it and get rid of some of the resin kind of dust that's gone around it. It's extremely hazardous. I don't know if I've said this before or I've reiterated before, but if you're getting a Titan or any kind of Forge World kit, anything, I mean, it can even be this little Heresy model here. Any kit, you will need to sand off mould lines or sand off something. Yeah, you can use clippers to get, you know, some of the gates and things off, and you can use a model knife to shave off a fair bit too. But if you really want to get rid of the mould lines and all the rest of it, you'll need to be using a file or a saw or something like that. And even just my experience of drilling, it's going to create a lot of resin dust, and the dust is ever so fine. It's much finer than Games Workshop plastic dust. You can barely see it in the air. It's so harmful, it's unbelievable. So if you haven't already, get yourself one of these masks. I think they're only a couple of quid, but it's going to save your lungs, save your throat, and all the rest of it. If you've got a lot of Forge World models, that's my kind of pro tip, I suppose. Yeah, so join me in the next part of the video where I'll show you Titan kind of standing up, almost finished. I'm just going to show you this little part because it's a bit of a milestone for me. I'm about to put all of the armour plates and things, the leg armour and the toes onto the legs. As you can see, I've highlighted every single bolt. I think it looks better when you've highlighted it rune fang steel or mithril silver, but to tone it down a bit, every single bolt I've gone over with a bit of Agrax Earthshade just to dull it down a bit. There's a lot of detail on the legs, which is unfortunately about to be covered up and things, but nonetheless. So as you can probably see, there's no cables either. What I should have done is I was obviously very impatient with these pads, and I put them on, and then I think I put these struts on, all the supports. Really, I would have not put the struts on, all the armour plates on. I would have waited until you're at this stage to put them on. But there we go. But what I will do is put these cables on before I put the leg armour, because once this leg armour's on, it's the bottom is going to be very heavy and quite fragile. So at least with these cables I can turn the legs upside down and put them in the right holes. So I need to bend them, so I'm going to use boiling water, and I'll get back to you on how well that goes. A little bit more of an update. All the armour plates and things on the legs are now done, the cabling's in. I use the boiling water technique, whereby you put a cable into a bowl of boiling water and you leave it a little while, and then you take it out with some tweezers or whatever, and then you can bend it quite easily but slowly, and you just bend it into place. And I'd strongly recommend you do that for this. I mean, if you've got a heat gun, that works, but you might run the risk of one, blowing your fingers off if you haven't got proper gloves or anything, and two, melting the ridges in the pipes. But anyway, boiling water technique works a dream. These armour pieces, I did have them joined together, and I went and had a look at some more pictures and things, and there were a couple of people that had joined them together, but the majority, they were open with a little gap. On Forge World's website, they've got a gap. On the main model, they've got a gap. So I've now changed them with a gap. So there you go. But they were a bit of a pain. The toes and everything were a pain. If you have a look at the pose I've gone for, he's sort of lifting that foot off. I think it's cool. It's better than him just standing there with a derp face or something like that. So anyway, as you can see, the magnets in there, I used the strong one so you can attach the torso. So the legs are pretty much done. My weapon systems are kind of done. Again, I mean, I've just got to finish this top part and go over the black. Probably, I've done a bit of highlighting on the edges there, which is great, but that's pretty much done. I love the carbonisation of the barrel ends. It looks a little bit different than a lot of other people. Some people have just left theirs metal. Some people haven't done the full amount of brass, but I've done the brass, the gold and the metal. I think it's really good contrast, and I love the triple barreled turbo laser or laser blaster, as it's called for a Reaver. I'll definitely be changing my Warhound's turbo laser destructor to that kind of colour scheme where you've got brass with the ridges, and then yeah, it just really works, really makes it pop. And the missile launcher, the Apocalypse missile launcher, I love my missiles the way I've done them. They're kind of red with a wash, no highlight, just red with a wash, and then white tips. And I think that really works, and I can't wait to see it on the model. But where I've nicked that from is one of my own models on the Cyclone missile launcher for this Terminator. And as you can see, he's got the red with the white tips. I've got another one that's white with red tips, but either way, that's where I've nicked it from my own model. All of my other parts are done, like the head armour and the shoulder pads, the neck, the chest plate, and the kind of top of the head armour as well. That's all done. These are the only parts that I've got left to do. The top carapace armour, the actual main body, which is almost complete really. I just have to do all the rivets, which is going to take me a blimmin' ages. The head is getting there. You've got to do a load of more detail and wash and things like that, along with the crew. You can see the crew just there as well, and the internal. I've got a fair bit to do in them. As you can see there, bit of a preview. I'm working on the Centurion, and obviously that's a tech priest. It's not Santa Claus, so I'm working on them while I'm doing this, but it's going really well. So join me in the next part of the video, where I hope to show you the full Reaver Titan with the body glued and everything like that, and it almost being complete. I'll probably still have a few things to do, but I think it's worth a separate showcase video on its own really. And I'll go through some of the parts where I've had problems, give you tips and things like that if you're going to get one. So join me in the next video where I show you even more of an update and it almost being complete. So thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor protects.